Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all doing well, and today I wanted to do an updated video of using the OnePlus 12 for 6 months. The last video I made was 3 months in with the OnePlus 12, so I wanted to make this update and let you guys know what issues, if any at all, have I had with the OnePlus 12. So the first place I want to start with the OnePlus 12 is the design, and overall I do really like it. The glass on the back has that satin feel, so it doesn't pick up fingerprints. The camera module is pretty large, but to be honest, a lot of phones are kind of going that way nowadays. But I do kind of like the Hasselblad branding on the camera module. The phone does feel really good in the hand, but it does have a curved display, and I've seen a lot of people say that they're not a fan of that. For me, it hasn't been an issue because I've used this phone with a case, which is the Spigen Liquid Air. Has a really nice texture on the back of this case too, and on the sides it has the textures. And I've heard a lot of people say that they've had a lot of accidental touches using the OnePlus 12, and that is most likely due to because they're not using it with a case. For me, using it with a case, I've not experienced any accidental touches because the case kind of wraps around the edges of that curved display. It has really nice colors. It gets very bright. If you manually adjust the brightness to 100%, it can sustain a brightness of just over 1100 nits in my testing. So I really do like the display. I love the alert slider. I almost wonder if I can go back to using a phone that doesn't have an alert slider because I really do like it. So if you slide the switch all the way up, that will put you in silent. In the middle is vibrate, and all the way down is in ring mode. It's just really nice because you can adjust your ringer just by the switch. You don't have to press your volume button and then hit the 3 dots and then adjust your ringtone, stuff like that. So it's just nice to have a dedicated switch to change that setting on your phone. Now, I do really enjoy the speakers also here on the OnePlus 12. They are very good. I would say I like my iPhone 15 Pro Max speakers just a little bit more. So, for reference, if I were to give my iPhone 15 Pro Max like a 10 out of 10 in terms of speakers, because I really do like those, I would say the OnePlus 12 is probably a solid like 8. But if I listen to them side by side, the iPhone does sound better to me, just more clarity and more loudness. But I think anyone who has the OnePlus 12 will be more than satisfied with the speakers. And now moving on to the battery life, that is one of the best things about the OnePlus 12 and also one of my favorite features. The battery life is just so good. Now, out of the box, the OnePlus 12 is set to 1080p. You can go into the settings, display and brightness, scroll down to screen resolution, and you can set it to high if you want it to look extra crisp. But for me, the 1080p looks plenty sharp enough. But for me and my usage with the OnePlus 12, I would say even during a heavy, maybe moderate to heavy day, I'm able to still pretty easily get 8 hours of screen on time. But when I first got the OnePlus 12 and I did the battery test for my full review, I think it was something close to like 11 hours of screen on time. But the majority of that was on Wi-Fi. But I think most people should see at least 8 hours of screen on time. Now, everyone's usage is different, but the OnePlus 12 does have really good battery life. And when your battery does get low on the OnePlus 12, the included charger in the box, the 80-watt charger, can charge this up in no time. In my battery test, I was able to charge it from like 2% to 100% in 34 minutes. Now, I don't recommend anyone draining their phone down to the single digits. Try to put it on the charger around 20%, and so you can get up to 100% charge even faster. So let's talk a little bit about the software here on the OnePlus 12, Oxygen OS. As of the making of this video, which is October 6th, 2024, I am on Android 14 and the August 5th, 2024 security patch. Now, in my experience, OnePlus is usually about a month behind in security patches. That's not a big deal for me, but I've been waiting for the September security patch. Hopefully that will come out in the next few days. But the software experience has been very, very smooth, no lag, anything like that here on the OnePlus 12. Some of my favorite features, just to name a few, is the smart side panels where you can swipe out from the side and launch an app. The floating windows are nice because you can move them around and you can tuck them to the side and come back to them later. That's really nice. The kids mode is a neat feature, although I've not used that, but I think it's a really neat feature because you can set which apps you want your child or your nephew or your niece, cousin, something like that, You can set the apps that you want them to use, and when you enter into kids mode, it only allows them to use those apps, and it will not affect your home screen layout where you've put all of your icons, anything like that. So it's really neat just to have that mode here on the OnePlus 12 that you can enter into and hand your phone to a child, and it won't mess with anything you have set up for your usage. I also really like the layout of the quick toggle. So if we swipe down once, you have two large tiles. For me, I have put those as Wi-Fi and airplane mode. You can choose 5 of your most used smaller quick toggles, and you also have a vertical brightness slider as well as volume slider. I really like those. I really like not having to swipe down twice to adjust my brightness. I can just swipe down once, adjust my brightness up or down really quickly, and then go back to whatever I'm doing. Now, there is a good amount of customization here on the OnePlus 12. Not as much as a Samsung for sure, because, Samsung has the Good Lock app, which is a really powerful app you can do lots of things with. But definitely more than a Pixel. You can do things like change the color scheme of your device. You can change the icon shape of the quick toggles. You can change the fingerprint animation. So when you unlock the device with your fingerprint, there's lots of cool animations here you can choose from. You can also change the shape of your app icons. You can adjust how rounded the corners are, the size of the icons. You can also turn off app names, which I've done for a more clean look. There's also a few options to change the system font as well as the font size if you're into doing that. The always on display is pretty nice, although I'm not a big user of the always on display. I mean, I have mine enabled, but I'm just not a big user of the always on display. But for me, it's just nice to, if I wake up during the night, to just look at my phone and see the time without having to actually wake up my device. You can see the battery percentage, the time, the date, as well as notification icons if you have any. So it's just a simple always on display, and there is lots of customizations you can do as well. There's lots of different styles for the always on display. This is the one I use here. I think it looks pretty good. It's just simple. You can also change the colors of like the date, as well as it changes the color of the battery icon. But there's lots of styles in here to choose from. Now, the only real issues I've ever had with the OnePlus 12 have since been fixed. The first one here is on the home screen, the global search. This app used to become unresponsive quite often, and I would have to swipe up, close the app, and then relaunch the global search. But I'm happy to say for the last few months, I have not had that issue. The global search works really good. Also, one of my favorite features because I can just tap on it and start typing and quickly jump into an app if it's not in my side panel. The other issue I think is more of just a carrier thing. My carrier is US Mobile, and Wi-Fi calling does not work with US Mobile using an eSIM, but it has worked just fine with a physical SIM. But just keep in mind the OnePlus 12 may not be fully certified to work with your carrier, so it's kind of a big question mark and a risk you might have to be willing to take. And the only other issue is not really with the phone, but it's with the company. My experience with returning the OnePlus Open and their customer service was absolutely awful. If you've not seen the video that I made called Beware of OnePlus Customer Service, go watch that video. It was absolutely awful. There's a huge lack of communication, and it took 22 business days for me to finally get my refund after I got my credit card company involved. And that's kind of my biggest issue here with this phone, is because I really love the OnePlus 12. It's been one of my favorite Android phones I've ever used, and I am kind of excited for the OnePlus 13, but when I think about the experience I've had with OnePlus customer service, it makes me really question if I even want to buy the OnePlus 13 or buy anything from them at all. 6 months in with the OnePlus 12, it has been serving me very, very well. I would still recommend someone to buy this device, although as of the making of this video, apparently the OnePlus 13 is going to be announced in October. So the global launch is probably right around the corner. But it is a great device. It's just the only issue I have is I would warn you to be prepared to fight with OnePlus if you have to send it in for a repair, or if you just don't like the device, you don't like Oxygen OS, and you want to return it, right? It's a big beware from me from their customer service. And I think as a tech reviewer on YouTube, I've went back and forth with myself, wondering if I should even mention my experience with companies. I think it's important to let people know what kind of experiences as a reviewer that we have with companies. I know there's horror stories with every company out there, like Samsung, Apple, Google. Everyone has a horror story. But since I buy my devices with my own money, I think there's a bit more emphasis on my experience with customer services of companies. I'm really excited to see MKBHD's Smartphone Awards of the Year video. I believe the OnePlus 12 will definitely be in there and receive maybe the Flagship Killer Award. I'm not sure. Can we call this a Flagship Killer? You know, it ticks a lot of boxes for the price. If you guys have this phone, let me know what your experience has been. Also, if you've had an experience with OnePlus customer service, let me know how that's been. I really appreciate you guys watching, and I will catch you in the next video.